Hello, my friends. This is going to be a bit of a different kind of video. I had the idea to start doing more of these kind of like podcast videos where they're not so heavily edited and way less cinematic. And the reason why I want to do this is because I have so many topics and ideas for videos, but when I'm doing those kind of like cinematic type of style videos, they take so long to plan and edit and script, and I just kind of realized that that's not super sustainable if I want to be putting out more videos this year, which is a goal of mine. So welcome to this style of video, and I hope that you like it. It's just gonna be me flapping my gums. This is not gonna be scripted. I just want it to be comfortable and chill, and I just want us to have a good time together. So I posted in my broadcast channel a couple months ago about this kind of podcast video style idea, and it seemed to be pretty well received, and I asked people what they would want me to talk about, and I got a lot of responses. All very interesting, and I do plan on covering them in this video and future videos. One topic that was brought up pretty frequently was the whole like niching down in the art world. And this is a very interesting topic for me because I think I might have kind of a different opinion about that than many people. Let me just read you some of those responses from my broadcast channel.
I'd like to know where you get your inspiration for your art, because everyone says to niche down, stick to one thing, but you have a variety in your art and I love it. Also, are you ever scared of painting something your collector won't like, or you just follow your gut and paint whatever you want? What's your opinion on having an art style versus not having an art style? What do you think about niche? Everyone says we need to have a niche for people to choose you. I love painting, ceramics, cute embroidery, but all I do is post my paintings. Is there still a way to do them all and still find my people?
So, I was first introduced to this whole niching down thing when I started my artistic journey in 2016. At that point, I had my art mentor, Tim Packer, and Tim's work is very recognizable. He has a very specific subject matter, a very specific way of painting. So if you walked into a gallery or a room and you saw one of his paintings, you could easily recognize it. You could say, that is a Tim Packer. And when we started the mentorship, that was a goal of mine. I thought, okay, Tim's got this whole thing going on. That's what I need to find too. I need to find my unique voice in the art world so that somebody can walk into a room and say, that's a Brooke Cormier. And on the one hand, I think that it was really great to have this goal in mind because it really challenged me to try a whole bunch of different things and see what avenue I kind of wanted to travel down more that would lead me to this very unique style that I had yet to discover. But on the other hand, it also added a bit of stress to my whole artistic journey because after 3 years of painting full time, I still hadn't found that special, unique Brooke Cormier style, and that kind of made me feel like a failure a little bit. And it was something that I just kept on waiting for and trying to find, and every year that passed that I hadn't found it just felt like I wasn't making enough progress. And it wasn't until a couple years ago that I've kind of released this idea in my mind that I need to find a very specific thing and stick to it. And since I kind of made that mindset shift, I have been enjoying my artistic journey much more. I don't have that voice in the back of my head saying, you need to find that specific thing and you need to be this kind of artist. So I think that I have a bit of a different outlook on this whole niching down thing because over the last 8 years of painting full time, I have covered so many different subject matters, so many different stylistic techniques and mediums and anything under the sun. And I have sold everything that I've made, and I've still been able to make a healthy living as an artist without having a niche. When I think about starting your art career, it's kind of like being in high school and having to choose at 18 what you want to be for the rest of your life. Because realistically, like, you're not even a full adult yet when you're 18. Your brain isn't even fully developed. So how can you make a decision like that when you're so young? I mean, it's the same thing when you're starting your art journey. How are you supposed to pick exactly this style and subject and special thing that you're gonna then paint for the rest of your life? Like, to me, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. I think that it's called a journey for a reason. You're supposed to go through all of these different places and explore different things and see what you like, and you're taking the things that you like with you and you're leaving the things that you don't like behind. And yes, maybe you will eventually get to this niche where you are enjoying what you're painting and you want to stick in that one thing. And if that's what you want, then 100%, I think that that's amazing. But I don't think that that's the only way to be a successful artist. I also think that as artists, we have a lot of different interests a lot of the time. Like, for me, for example, I go through seasons of not wanting to paint at all and having an intense interest in something very specific, like jewelry making, for example, or making mushrooms out of orange peels. And I think that it's really important to kind of let yourself dive into those different things. And if you do those things well, it can also be lucrative. Like, for my jewelry thing, I spent a lot of time and energy into making all these designs and hand making every single, piece myself. And I still ended up making, I think, like $4,000 in a month just off of doing all of those sales. So I think that what's most important as an artist is not niching down, but just doing what you do well. I believe that no matter what work you're doing, if it's quality work, people will buy it. So let's rewind a little bit to the beginning of my art career. And this was when I was being mentored by Tim, and he was challenging me to kind of like try out a bunch of different styles and see what I liked. And I ended up landing on doing these food still lifes, and they were like very colorful and also very realistic acrylic paintings. And I really leaned into that for a good, I think, like 6 months to a year. I was really just doing these food paintings, and I loved it until I didn't anymore. And after I was kind of like done with this food stuff, my mentality moving forward was like, okay, that whole time I was practicing my skills. I was lucky enough to sell everything that I was making. And now I'm going to take what I learned from that moving forward and kind of apply that to future projects. And fast forward from there, even last year, I did this whole abstract mushroom series, and that was completely different from me. But I was still able to take things that I learned from painting realism and apply them to like the little bits of the mushrooms that were very realistic, and then try something completely different with the abstract element of it. And then I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm happy that I did that, and now I want to move on to the next thing. And I think I'm going to take things that I learned from painting abstract into whatever my next project is going to be. Exploration is so important in your artistic journey, and I feel like when people become really obsessed with this idea of niching down, it prevents them from kind of branching out and exploring, and then you kind of put yourself in a box, and that's not where you want to be as an artist. I feel like that's the exact opposite of what artists yearn for. They want freedom and they want to create what they want to create. So I would really encourage you to let go of this idea of niching down, because if it's meant to happen, it's gonna happen. I think the most important thing to be focusing on now is not finding your unique voice in the art world, but to just focus on developing your skill set and trying to improve your art, regardless of what it is. Because like I said, if the art is good, you'll find an audience for it. And to address what this person said about, are you scared of painting something that your collector won't like, or you just follow your gut and paint whatever you want? I have definitely not painted things that I wanted to paint just because I thought that they wouldn't sell. And I think that that is a big struggle for artists, because when you're a full-time artist and your entire income depends on you selling your work, obviously you're gonna feel a lot of outside pressure on what you create, because, you want to be able to feed yourself and pay your rent. So there were times where I wanted to try new things or experiment, but I didn't allow myself to do that because what I was doing was working, and that at the time was just painting more like realistic paintings of florals and landscapes and what have you, and that seemed to be doing the trick, and I also enjoyed it. I like painting landscapes and florals. I work from all of my own reference photos, so that's a really fun part of my creative process, and I'm passionate about nature, and it's a huge inspiration for me, so it was checking a lot of boxes, and therefore I was like, okay, I feel like I should just stick with this because it's working. But I feel like I also kind of had this yearning to explore and to try and develop myself as an artist more, instead of just painting more or less the same type of paintings all the time. And it wasn't really until I guess a couple years ago where I started giving myself more permission to experiment and to step outside of my comfort zone a lot more with my art. And what really helped with this is the fact that I was diversifying my revenue streams a little bit. So I started making some money off of YouTube, and I recently released my first digital product, which is a Notion template that will help you plan your art career. And these things started taking some financial pressure off of the art sales. And since I now have that, I can feel like, okay, there's a little bit of wiggle room. I can now kind of, experiment in this and that. And even if, a project that I work on is a total flop, that's okay. I'm not going to starve. It took me a really long time to kind of find the importance of diversifying my income, but now that I'm here, I'm really happy that I did, because I feel a lot more free with what I can create now. And the goal with, YouTube is not only to help you guys and hopefully provide some valuable insights into what being a full-time artist is like, but also if this could actually become a lucrative part of my art career, that'll give me the funds and also a lot more freedom to really just go ham, create whatever my heart's desire. And what a dream that would be, So with that being said, thank you for being here and watching and supporting me. I really do hope that these videos are insightful. I think that since this was unscripted, I may have rambled a bit and the structure may not make the most amount of sense, but alas, life doesn't make sense all the time, does it? I think what I will say to end off this video is that if you're stressed about finding your niche, don't be stressed, because I've been doing this for 8 years and I still haven't found my niche. Really just focus on improving your skills, because that is the thing that's going to lead you to success in your career. In a future video, I would love to discuss ways for you to improve your art and also be productive while you're doing it. I'm a believer that, it doesn't have to be just practice. You can sell your practice. So that's a topic for another day, but I feel like there's just so much that I want to talk about. So I really do hope that you enjoy this type of video, because I think I'm gonna roll with it. I'll definitely be putting out some more fun, some more cinematic ones in the future, but they'll just be little treats here and there because, to be honest, I don't have that much time on my hands. But I do love like getting really creative with the camera angles and stuff like that. That's a really fun part of the creative process. It's just the editing. Anyways, I hope that you found this video helpful. I hope that you are feeling good and not so stressed out about finding that wretched niche that everyone's talking about, because hey, you don't need to. So let me know in the comments what you think, and if there's any other topics that you would like me to discuss in a future video of my unfiltered thoughts as a full-time artist. Stay creative, take care of yourself, have a wonderful day. I'm Brooke Cormier, and I'll see you next time.